Yeah.
Good call. I'm gonna run to the back.
This is a test of the emergency broadcast system.
This is only a test.
DJs and MC. This DJ, he gets down.
Listen to this jockey's introduction to
Two DJs and a mic with your host, DJ Mike
Is that a timetable?
and DJ JP.
Well, get on it. It's your turn.
Give me the mic.
And we're back.
Wow. You cut it off automatically this time?
Oh yeah, they cut it off automatically. Yeah, that shows you how long we've been doing this, or how long somebody's been paying attention. Anyway, we're back with another episode of Two DJs and One Mic. Yes, there we got the prop in the house. It's not real. Yeah, and it's not steel. Classic.
I love that mic, by the way.
Yeah.
I think I need to get me one of those.
Yeah.
Hello. Yeah.
All right. Well, it's time for another episode of Two DJs and a Mic. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we have Mr. Tony H. Lackey in the building from Michigan.
Yes,
So
the cold state.
the coast.
Very cold.
Yeah.
Very cold.
So
Yeah.
So I don't know how Mike got it set up with all the questions, but we'll go ahead and did you put an introduction in there, sir, or you want to tell us a little?
I don't. We want to kind of guide this in a different way. Tony is, as we put, on our intro or on our post. Tony is what we see to be a guy that has a lot. He does a lot.
Yeah.
He does a lot.
Yeah,
He's
I like
a marketing guy. He's a DJ. He's. Why am I saying that? Tony, tell us what you do.
Tell us what you do.
Tell us what you do.
So I am a DJ. I started Northern Beat Entertainment in Traverse City. Traverse City, Michigan is kind of like Northern Michigan, just not like the upper peninsula of Northern Michigan. So, I mean, we're about like 4 hours from Detroit, 2 hours from Grand Rapids. So, and before I started my DJ business, I was working at a marketing agency. And I was kind of telling you guys offline, when I was working at the marketing agency, I was dead broke because instead of working and filling my pipeline, I was an account manager. So essentially a salesperson, right? I would evaluate a business's online presence, what their competitors are doing, and try to sell them on different packages that we offered and services and stuff like that. So I got really good at strategizing. But instead of actually working to fill my pipeline, like a lot of salespeople would actually do, I was more hanging out in the office with the web designer and the strategist and kind of picking their brains, figuring out how they did this thing with SEO, how they did this thing with WordPress, you know, and kind of figuring out how all of those pieces kind of mesh together. And then once I finally figured it out, I started my own business. And since then, Northern Beat has been growing substantially. I told you guys offline, I started it in 2020. So during the pandemic, and we've had a lot of growth. And along with doing that, I also build websites. So I'll work with businesses or local businesses in my market. I work with other businesses pretty much anywhere, but I'll get with them and build a website for them that is set up more for conversion optimization as opposed to just looking pretty, right? Because one of the main things we're always looking at is how does, from a conversion standpoint, so from the moment that a visitor lands on the website, what are they seeing? How does it relate to them? And then how are they going to reach out? Then what's going to happen after that? So I spend a lot of time building websites for different businesses and things like that. And I have a new project that I think you guys are referring to that I actually just announced today, which is My Wedding Connect, which is going to be a Michigan-based wedding vendor listing website, which is 100% dynamic, which means the vendors will create their own account. They will add their own information. They will pay the website. And then once they pay, their information is automatically added for couples to kind of browse and look at and see if they can find different vendors in different markets at different price points and stuff like that.
Is it vendors or venues?
Both. So there is a strict distinction between vendors and venues on the website.
Can you explain?
Can you explain?
So the venues actually have a different template. So like with this website specifically, because it's all dynamic. So what that means is it's taking the form that the vendors end up filling out and it adds a template, a custom template that I created specifically for the listing. And the venue listings will say things like schedule a tour as opposed to get in touch or different things like that. Right. But yeah, so there's the vendors, which are like DJs, bands, photographers, videographers, caterers, officiants, whatever you would kind of bundle into like weddings and the venues themselves.
So you did it for the whole state or just your
So
area?
right now it is for the whole state because I'm just now rolling it out. A lot of it. So I'm big on experimentation, right? Like
And
everything is a learning process, right? So
when
like,
you say experimentation, sorry for stopping.
no, you're good.
I think that's a very important point. What is it about experimentation that makes you big on it? And what is the success rate from that experimentation?
So the thing that makes me big on it is the fact that everything is a learning experience, you know? No matter how long I've been building websites, no matter how long I've been DJing, every event is an opportunity for me to try something different, for me to learn something different, as opposed to me taking just my successes and things that maybe I perceive to be a success, and maybe in somebody else's eyes it wasn't, and standing a firm ground and saying like, hey, this is the way I'm going to do it. Everything is kind of flowing, and it's all just learning from the experiences that I get. So like with this one, it is going out as primarily a full Michigan wedding vendor website, but I also understand that I have a much higher rate of success for getting actual vendors in my area on there from my networking and working with vendors, because I don't have anybody in like the other markets like Detroit and Grand Rapids and up in the Upper Peninsula that are going to be selling the website. So that's going to have to primarily rely on like ads or Facebook ad campaigns that I put together or anything like that.
Yeah. So I don't want to skip to the next question. Mike already did that, but I want to. So is your plan to get out and go to some of these places and speak at like networking events in Detroit, Grand Rapids, you know, do some of that to really, you know, put yourself out there? Because there was a guy that, do you know Todd Everett by chance?
Yeah, I know Todd. I actually
So-
met with him. I had a wedding in Detroit
Mhm.
probably about 2 months ago. And while I was down in Detroit, Fletcher Price, Keith Clark from Superior CRMs, Todd Everett, Jonathan Savoy,
Mhm.
a bunch of us ended up getting together for dinner while I was in Detroit, because originally it was just going to be Fletcher and I. And then Keith ended up deciding he was going to make the drive from Canada.
Wow.
So we could all just kind of hang out for a little bit.
He really likes you, Keith. You really like him. Yeah, that's cool. Yep.
Keith's a cool guy.
But wow, okay. So we won't dive too much in that because I know you're trying to jump it off and trying to do your thing. But that's a cool thing, man. And we're gonna have to talk offline about that a little bit more. But what is your biggest success story, man? What's your biggest thing?
Watch the mic.
Watch the mic. I'm sorry.
Yeah, don't drop the expensive mic, man.
Yeah.
We can't have anything happen to that precious baby. So, my biggest success is honestly Northern Beat. When I started Northern Beat, we weren't even able to make it paycheck to paycheck. And that is being very conservative, right?
Mhm.
Like, we were dead broke. $80 was too much for anything, let alone like something we needed, right? So not just being able to do something that I love for a living and actually be able to make a decent living off of it, but being able to grow it at the rate that I have been able to, because right from the jump, when I started working at that marketing agency, I was still working with a lot of clients. I was still selling a lot, but I wasn't filling my pipeline the way that I should have. So we didn't have a ton of money, but I knew that it was going to pay off one way or another because I was pretty much supercharging the amount of marketing knowledge that I was gaining. And it was all real world experience. Like, it wasn't sitting in a classroom learning like, hey, this is what you want to do. This is how you should do it. It was me pretty much like sitting over the shoulder of our SEO guy or our WordPress designer and just seeing what they did and saying, hey, how'd you do that? Oh, I just did this and took that and did this, until I was able to create my own website. And the minute I did, because I went in there with the focus of, this is my first website I'm building, but I don't want it to look like my first website. It needs to look like and feel like the marketing agency that I was working for built it, because I was still representing that marketing agency, right? So it needed to have that feel. And literally within 3 months of it going live, because a few things I did when the website went live, I also ran a few ad campaigns, like right off the bat. Before the website went live, I created a Google business profile and already had 12 reviews on it from past clients that I had DJ'd for like years ago. I think the oldest client, I had DJ'd a party for them like 4 years ago. And I reached out to them and said, hey, I'm starting this business. These reviews would really help me. Would you mind leaving? And they did, even though it was 4 years ago. So between the ads, the website, literally about 3 months after starting Northern Beat, I had 22 events on the calendar, which the year before that I had 7 of my own. And then I was working for another multi-op and pretty much DJing every single weekend. So I was DJing every weekend, but I only had like 7 events that I had actually booked.
Mhm.
So let me ask you this in regards to that, in regards to DJing. So I know you started your company during COVID. When did you actually start DJing, and what brought you to the fold?
So I started DJing in 2015. And what actually ended up doing it, so I had a daughter in 2014. And at the time, I was really trying to build like an independent record label. So I was producing a lot of rap music. I was recording a lot of music. I was doing music videos. Like, there was a lot of things that I was doing at that time, but I never wanted to be the musician. I always wanted to be the guy behind the scenes kind of thing, because although I'm very passionate about like public speaking and moving crowds, I never liked kind of the aftertaste of that, right? Like, we would do shows and then you walk around town and everybody recognizes you. That part I never freaking enjoyed. I always hated that. So I always enjoyed like public speaking and engaging with large groups of people, but all of that time was spent on other artists, but there was no way for me to make money off of it. One, the artists I was working with were they weren't committed enough. Or B, they were addicted to drugs. You know?
I can't drop it. If I drop it, it'll break.
Sorry. Or that. And a buddy of mine, he was kind of a mentor to me at the time. He said, you know, because he saw us struggling, I was working 80 hours a week, and I'm not even joking, like 70 to 80 hours a week hauling granite countertops, and we still weren't making it, man. I was making $10 an hour to haul giant freaking granite countertops. And he said, you know, have you ever thought about DJing, like specifically weddings? And I'm like, no, that's freaking corny, man. Why would I ever want to DJ weddings? Like, you know, so he was like, no, seriously, like, because he knew I had an ear for music. I knew music theory. I could count beats, and I had a good ear for stuff. And I was very good at engaging with crowds because I was also, before my daughter was born, I used to teach martial arts and fitness at a martial arts school here locally, and his kids were in one of my classes. Go ahead.
What have you not done? Continue.
I'm
But
thinking the same thing. Producer, rapper, Marshall, Bruce Lee. Yeah.
So
it took a long way to get here. You should have just. God, no. But go ahead, man. We understand.
So the thing that I learned, especially teaching martial arts, was reading rooms, right? Because some of the groups that I would teach were children, and children are very difficult to get in line.
Can you elaborate on that? Because I want to see how you tie reading a room into with DJ.
Go ahead. He said it kind of, but go ahead.
Yeah.
So, like, when you're dealing with kids, right, you have to be very direct but very compassionate, right? Like, you can't be super stern, you can't be super firm, otherwise they're not going to like you, the parents aren't going to like you. And I always had a full understanding that when I was teaching martial arts, I was also selling myself to the parents that were in the back of the room, so that way they would continue their membership. And, you know, it's a lot of, you can go into a class knowing exactly what curriculum you're going to teach, but until you're actually there and you actually are dealing with the kids, you have no idea what that's going to look like at all. Right? Because sometimes they might be a little extra riled up. So you can't get them to focus and sit there and just listen to you for literally 5 freaking minutes and understand what you're saying. So you have to make it engaging and fun, and you have to do it in a different way that actually captures them, right? And makes them want to learn. And because of that, he knew, like, I was really great at working with crowds, and between my knowledge in music and what he had witnessed of me teaching when I was teaching martial arts, that DJing weddings was at least a surefire way for me to make some extra money, right? Because hauling granite countertops 70 hours a week and then going out on the weekends. And as soon as I realized, like, so he was working at an all-inclusive wedding venue in my area where it's a wedding venue. They do the catering, they offer the decor, and they do also offer the DJ. So the DJ, all they have to do is show up the day of the wedding, get the list of songs, prepare the songs in virtual DJ, and do it, and then MC. That's it. There really are no, like, planning meetings that the DJ has to do. So he knew, like, I could make over what I made in a single week in one night doing this. And as soon as I realized that, I'm like, I'll give it a shot. You know,
no more.
Right? Yeah. So I kind of started trying to do that. And the first few, I was just doing it for the money. But then probably around like the 3rd or 4th wedding I was doing, it actually really freaking clicked. And it was like, this is freaking dope. Like, realizing that you're using your talents and the knowledge that you have and the skill set that you have, not just in service of yourself, but in service of like these two people or these people that want to celebrate and have a good time. Right. And I kind of realized like that's what it, although it wasn't directly what I was looking to do, because at the time I wanted to produce, right? I wanted to like be able to make a beat and say like this big artist did this song over it. Although it wasn't that, the feeling that I was seeking was the exact same.
So
right. So
go ahead.
I was able to kind of experience that where, you know, I'm engaging with the crowd, I'm reading the room, and I am keeping the event going, but I'm not the center of attention.
Yeah, that's a unique tie-in. That's a unique tie-in with the kids and a way of looking at how to read the crowd. I'm sure we all have different stories on how we learn how to read the crowd.
Oh, yeah.
That's really.
But it's
I like
always
that. That's
interesting.
pretty good. Yeah.
So what is it about what you do that makes you happy and allows you to continue to do it? What is
Honestly, just the reaction from not just the couple, but also the people, right? Like when you are rocking a wedding or even like with the web design stuff, man. So I love servicing other people, right? I love helping people. I like helping people either feel something or achieve something. One of those two.
Cool.
And with weddings, I help them feel something, right? Last wedding, no, it was actually 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago, we got done with the wedding. And there's actually a gig log on my YouTube channel. It's the one at the Peninsula Room. And the bride at the end of the night. So we did kind of like a group last dance, and then we booted everybody out of the venue and gave them like a solo last dance. And literally at the end of the night, she was in tears. And she just said, this was such a perfect day. Like it, Jody, my assistant, and myself, we both started tearing up. Like I just had to turn around and just like not look for a second because it was like, all right, this is getting to me, man.
There you go. There you go.
Fly got in my eye.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Something I'll give you a little trade secret. We call those private last dances down here in Texas. So you can add that to your thing and share it with everybody. Private last dance where we're gonna have a private last dance for the couple. That's something we do down here. Well, that's what they call it. I don't know about everywhere else.
And what's funny is I have never seen one of those up here until this year, and I've already had 3 of them.
Yeah, so it's a big trend down here. Almost everybody does it. That gives everybody time to go outside, line up,
yeah,
get ready for the grand exit or whatever they're gonna do. But
yeah. And then like with the web design stuff that I do, you know, I love helping business owners, especially ones that are struggling, be able to get to a point where they're actually able to do the things that they want to do, right? And they don't necessarily have to be a slave to their own business anymore, and they can actually experience that growth and the excitement of owning a business as opposed to the stresses of owning a business.
Yeah, stressors. Yeah. So who or what inspires you, Tony?
I would say the number one thing that inspires me are just people that understand they don't know it all. Right? So with me, one thing I really I gravitate more towards are people that, like I said, with the experimentation thing, man, like people that realize even though we have a lot of things figured out, everything is still a learning experience, right? So I pretty much never say no to anything. If it is something that based on my professional experience, I think maybe we shouldn't do, I'll voice that. But ultimately, everything is a learning experience because no one situation is like another. So you never know exactly how anything is going to go. So just kind of being free flowing and understanding that with every moment there's an opportunity. I think that's what inspires me the most.
Cool.
So, and it is cool. I like that. What is so important about marketing?
It gives you chances and it gives you options. honestly. So if I were to take my life before I was working at the marketing agency and spent all of that time in the office picking the brains of the web designers and the marketing strategists and figuring out how to implement it for myself, and a snapshot of what my life is now, it's night and day, man. You know, and I saw it earlier today. So there's a Facebook group that I started called DJ Marketing School. And the group right now is more intended to be a collective of DJs that want to get better, that want to learn more about marketing, because I do interview videos with people like Mike Walter and Alan Berg and Rachel Lynch and Brian Lawrence, and kind of pick their brains about what they have had success with in business. And kind of using my background in marketing, I can see a lot of those same trends. But in that group, there was a member who was saying, you know, he's just so tired of fighting all of these low bids, right? It was actually a post I made about Keith. I posted a video testimonial about Keith Clark from Superior CRMs, because one thing he has done with my business has been tremendously valuable, just to give me a lot of time working on automation and kind of helping me with my actual planning process and things like that. But, you know, when you find an avenue that works for you to market your business in, you don't have to worry about those low paying gigs. Because if a client reaches out to me and they say, "Oh, you charge too much," all right, I can help you find another DJ, but that's all I can do. I can't discount it, because it is a wedding day. I know I will be working, because we get more inquiries than we need, right? Or than we can actually book, for that matter, because it's me and I have one other kind of part-time DJ that I'll schedule 2 weeks out of the month. And even with that, we still have way more inquiries than we can actually book. So I end up referring a lot of them out. And that would not be possible, not only with the planning process that I go through with my clients and the results that I deliver. That is more important than any kind of marketing. But without that marketing, I wouldn't have had the opportunity to get in front of those venues and show them what I can do.
So would you say if we're not marketing, are we basically killing our business?
Yeah, and you're relying way too much on chance and luck, and nobody is lucky. So a DJ may have some success, but it is not anything that they can duplicate, and it is nothing that they can consistently project, right? So there's no way of knowing if next year is going to be like this year, or if they can even secure the amount of dates that they want to secure a month in order to stay in business, because there's no consistency driving those leads, right? And it takes consistency to get consistency. So you need to consistently be marketing your business, and consistently be posting content, consistently be updating things on your website, whether it be a blog article or DJ. A lot of DJs are doing gig logs now. Add those damn gig logs to your website, right? If you're not consistently creating content, whether on social media, Google Business Profile, consistently getting reviews on Google or Wedding Wire or The Knot, you will never have consistent inquiries, and you will always be struggling for those bottom of the barrel discount shoppers.
So is consistency, I hear that a lot. So is that your number one tool, or what do you say the number one thing in marketing, or number one, just be consistent, or
consistent?
What's like the first thing you teach your guys in marketing, and what's the number one thing that they must do?
So it kind of depends. So if it is somebody that I am working on a website for, or let's say somebody I've already built a website for, or maybe even somebody that has a really good website that, based off of the formula that not just myself and other professionals have found that work, if I know they already have that component. So, the first, you need to have a website that converts traffic. It's not just about having a website. So many businesses will just throw a website up and be like, boom, we're done, right? But it needs to be compelling, right? And that's a whole different topic. We don't need to dive into that right now. But if I know that they already have a website that is set up to convert, then the biggest thing is consistency, right? So it baffles me and it shakes me to the freaking core, dude. How many people do not get at least one review a month? So many DJs, because some DJs are just scared that the couple are going to pick out one little thing that they did, so they don't even ask for the damn review. You need to ask for the review, right? So there's a few things that a lot of people can do to literally market their business completely free that is super valuable. And in a lot of markets, not every market, like a lot of the bigger cities, it's not going to work because there are a lot of DJ companies that are much more well-established that are already doing these things. But for a lot of guys in markets like myself, where we have, I think we might just now be over 100,000 people in my city, getting consistent Google reviews and asking for those reviews and creating Google business posts. So when you post on social media, you need to be creating a post on Google Business Profile. If you are not creating a post on Google Business Profile, you are shooting yourself in the foot, because that is one of the Google Business Profile is not the number one way that local searches show up, but it helps you in terms of local search. So let's say you guys said you're in Dallas, right? So let's say somebody searches wedding DJ in Dallas, because Google sees, hey, they're searching for a specific service that is only offered in Dallas. The formula for how Google represents those results is completely different than if they're searching for like a back brace or a knee brace or something like that, right? And a lot of the main things that they look at are consistency, quality of the reviews, keywords that clients leave in those reviews, and keywords and Google Business posts. So posting on Google Business can help a lot, especially when you're adding an image and you're adding a button to your website, especially if you have a website that's already well converting, because it can give you that little bit of an edge to get in front of more clients and more people searching, right?
And I'm going to say this here, and I think it's very important, and I appreciate the information that you're sharing with our listeners as well as ourselves, because you said something that's very powerful in regards to Google and posting on there, because it makes a difference, and it makes a major difference with our businesses. You know, everybody has a friend named Google. Everybody. And they trust their friend named Google.
Yes.
You know, sincerely trust their friend named Google.
Preach.
Yep.
And they trust it more than they trust their spouse. So
yes.
that's very important. And I really hope the people that are listening now and that will listen later will really pay attention and dissect this information, because it's not good enough to just have that form of marketing that we call word of mouth.
No, it's not.
No.
Your word of mouth will run out before marketing.
Bingo. And the thing is that marketing amplifies that word of mouth, right?
Yeah. It's show and proof too. It's show and proof.
Exactly. One of the things that frustrated me the most when I was starting my business, watching a lot of the different, like I would join like the DJ's Vault live streams and DJ and TV and a lot of these other channels that were talking about like DJ businesses and stuff like that. They always said the same number one thing. Where do you get gigs? Referrals. When you're starting out, you don't have any freaking referrals. You don't have anybody to give you anything.
Tony got a little passionate there, didn't he?
Seriously though, like
You're right, because a lot of DJs think they can just walk into this and it's boom. Just because your cousin had you do their wedding, you feel like you could do it. Now it's just okay. Everybody that was at that wedding, everybody at that wedding is going to recommend me. No, you got to have some proof in the pudding, buddy.
Yes, and then by utilizing that marketing to get in front of those venues, that's when you begin generating those referrals, and that's when that begins taking off. But every single person I listened would always skip that step. They would just say, do what you can to network with the venues and get them to refer you. What if that doesn't freaking work? Right? Like, so the marketing gives you chances to get in front of them and get them referring you.
I'm going to, I want to call out a couple of things, and I want you to tell the importance of it. Website, business profile on Google, business social media profiles, not just your personal profile, but your business social media profile. And I'm going to stop there because I think those are three huge ones.
Yeah.
And I want you to tell the importance of all. Website, having your business set up on Google, any of the other directories, Yelp, or any of the other free directories, and social media presence, business presence.
So anywhere your business can be listed, it should be. Because kind of going back to how Google takes the local search results and how that is different, online listings is an important component of that. So when Google, I always say it like this. Imagine that if somebody is searching something on Google for a local business, imagine you are at a job fair and you walk up to one dude standing behind a table and you say, I'm looking for a DJ in Detroit. And he just poofs. 18, 30 freaking folders just poof in front of him. Mm-hmm. And literally in a split second, he can go through them. And what he is looking for is to see if these are legitimate businesses and if they can actually provide the level of service that this person is looking for, because Google wants people to use Google. So they are always going to give the best rated results, right? Because they want to make sure that they have a good experience. And he looks in one folder and he sees that they have one review from 6 years ago. And they're listed on 3 different websites. And maybe one of the listings has an outdated phone number. He's not entirely sure that if he gives this folder over to that person, if they're going to be able to reach them, if they're going to do a good job. So he goes to the next one and he sees that this folder or this business has gotten a minimum of 3 reviews a month. And everywhere that their business can be listed, their business is listed, and it's consistent on every single platform. Their spelling is the same. Their phone number is the same. Their address is the same. Their images, their logo, everything is the same. Who do you think he's going to hand over?
Oh, they can't hear me in that mic.
So that's kind of how Google looks at that, right? So having your business on listings is super important, especially on the Google side. Now, in terms of the website is the traffic that you own, and it should always be used more as a conversion path. So the nice thing with websites is that you have a higher finite of control with how the end user sees the content that's in front of them, right? So one thing that helps a lot is not drowning them out with a bunch of bull crap, right?
Too much fluff.
Yeah, too much fluff. You don't need to tell them you're a DJ. They know you're a freaking DJ, right? Otherwise, they wouldn't be on the website.
Wow.
And you don't need to tell them what speakers you use or what equipment you use. What you need to tell them are the results. And you need to work it in, especially nowadays with short attention spans. You need to work it in a way that excites them, gets them motivated, gets them inspired, and gets them to take a specific action, right? So websites are kind of, most conversions will come through websites, right? Now, social media is super, if a DJ is not creating content and putting it on social media, not just the business profile, but also their own personal brand, because as we see with Millennial and Gen Z, it isn't just about the corporate entity or the business. they also buy into the personal brand of the person behind it or the person that they want to work with, right? So having consistent, engaging content going out on social media, because that's where the reach is, right? A lot of people will find vendors and businesses on social media not by searching like they do on Google, but they find them on social media either by tagged posts from some of their friends. Maybe they're looking at a specific venue, right? And a DJ tags that venue in many, many posts. As a matter of fact, a lot of the venues that we are a recommended vendor at, the clients that reach out to us didn't even get our number from the venue themselves, but they just see when they search the venue on social media, they just see it blasted with posts from us because we do a million posts from events and we always tag the venue and say how much we love working at it. And that's usually how they're going to find it, is either by somebody tagging them or by kind of gaining that reach by tagging people, right? But social media is ultimately the traffic that you borrow, because the website is more the traffic that you own because you can control it a little bit more. And even in the day of content with videos and reels and all that other stuff, websites are going to be around for a long time because they're always going to be a necessity for an actual business, especially to diversify. Because one thing I always say is marketing is like building wealth.
Mm-hmm.
If you listen to anybody about building wealth, they will say the same thing. You need to diversify your income. In business, you need to diversify your leads. So if literally all of your leads are coming through word of mouth, that's not good enough.
Yeah, because those can dry up, because those people can get out the industry. They can start referring you. They can meet a new friend. They can come up with somebody they like better. They can find somebody who's paying them. They can do a whole bunch of things, and all of that can dry up. So, they can sell the venue. They can, they can. Yeah.
And you know what else is important, and that I see that's a huge problem. Some they want to make all the money, but they don't want to invest in their business.
Yeah.
So with marketing means that you have to have a budget.
Yeah. So I'm glad Mike said that. So I had thought about it, should have wrote it down. So do you set a yearly marketing budget, and do you measure it to see if it's working or if you need to switch it up from year to year?
Yes and no. So I don't spend any money on marketing, actually. Okay, that's a lie. Because I actually was talking to a DJ today, and literally up until last week, I have not been on Wedding Wire or The Knot. I have never created a listing. And that kind of goes to show you the power of social media and the power of Google and having a good converting website, right? And the only reason I created a listing on Wedding Wire and The Knot is for market research for my Wedding Connect. So it wasn't even because we don't need more leads at Northern Beat. I know for a fact that a lot of the inquiries I'm going to get from Wedding Wire, most likely I'm going to be booked. But I can at least see how the back end works for the vendors and apply some of that I learned for my Wedding Connect. But anyway, so I don't actually spend any money on marketing other than the money that I put into my website, creating content. So one thing that
no Google. I mean, no Google ads, no Facebook ads, no Wedding Wire, no not. Go ahead.
No, I know. I have to dig in on that. So that's something that I think that's very important for you to explain, because you have people that the majority of us, we create a budget for marketing. And when you say things like, I don't spend any money on marketing, how do we reduce what we pay on marketing and still be effective?
So
yeah, go ahead.
So when I was at
touched on these things, but for those that's going to think that, I want them to get it.
Yeah, just put it in a nice tight pack.
Yeah.
It might be a little bit long.
Oh, it's okay. We've been long all night.
But it will be thorough. Okay, so
go ahead.
When I was at Lead Plan, and Lead Plan Marketing is the marketing agency I used to work for.
Okay.
They had a strategy called the 5 pillars of a successful marketing strategy. And the 5 pillars were something, and we even ended up calling it P5. And that was something that we would apply no matter what we were doing, whether we were building a website, whether we were creating an ad campaign, creating an Amazon store, and building out an entire set of ad campaigns for that Amazon store, or creating a launch for a business. We always had to have an answer for all 5 of the pillars, and they had to fall in that order, right? If they did not fall in that order, then the chain is broken and we can't necessarily duplicate the results. So the first pillar is, how will they find us? We need to have a method for them finding us. Now, when you are a new business, that will mean ads. When I started Northern Beat, one of the first things I did as soon as my website went live, I created a Google ad campaign. I created a set of Facebook ad campaigns that went out, so that way I could kind of get eyes on Northern Beat. But that can also mean search engine optimization. That can mean creating those posts on Google Business Profile, getting consistent reviews, having your listings consistent across the web. So when that dude behind the table is looking at that client with all those folders in front of him, he picks yours, right? It could mean social media. So we have to have a way for them to find the business.
Okay. Number 2.
Number 2 is, how will they identify with us? So it's not good enough for somebody just to find you and know that you're a thing, because otherwise they're not going to care.
So let me give me a little deeper on that. So how would they identify? Are you saying, will they like our product, or
so now this is under the presumption that people understand who their ideal client is, right? Because that's an important, crucial step. You need to know who your ideal client is, and you need to understand the buyer's journey, not just who they are, but what steps they go through when they are looking at buying what it is that you ultimately do, right?
Like, give me the name of this group you in. I'm getting in this marketing group tonight.
DJ Marketing School.
Okay.
Now, when you understand who your ideal client is, what their buyer's journey looks like, it's about creating a message and creating the copy either on the website or in the social media post to resonate with them. Right. The easiest example that I can kind of set is, people always say, like, oh, show their end result, right? Show the result that your ideal client wants. Don't show them the process. Don't show them your speakers. Your speakers are not the result. The result is them rocking out and having a good time. Don't show them your controller. They could give a crap less. Sorry. Don't show them that stuff. Show them the end result and what that looks like when they work with you, right?
Wow.
Because then that pulls them in and that gets them emotionally invested. They're like, I could see myself here, right?
Yeah.
So how will they find us? How will they identify with us? The third pillar is, how will they trust us? So oftentimes businesses will either miss all 5, or they'll think marketing is just the first pillar. How will they find us, right? People think marketing, they think ads. But marketing is a wide range of things. And as we go on, you'll kind of see the bigger picture made here. But if they found us and we've gotten them to identify with us, ask anybody that works in sales. Without trust, you have no sale. And it's the exact same online. Without building that trust and letting them know, like, hey, I'm credible, I can do this, that connection that you made with them, identifying with them, means absolutely nothing.
So do you think every client is different on the build of trust, or what do you think builds trust? What builds trust for you?
The biggest thing that will build trust are reviews and content. And that's why content is important, because so identifying and trust oftentimes can kind of be the same thing, right? Like, especially in terms of social media, if you are posting content regularly and not just showing like what your setup looks like or anything like that, but actually showing the people having a good time, that is allowing them to identify with you and establish that trust. Now, after having this conversation, I want you, if you ever look at a DJ's website, I want you to take mental note of what their first tagline is, because so many DJs, I see the first thing you see on their site is been in business 20 years,
Yeah.
25 years of rocking weddings.
Turn off.
That is skipping so many steps.
Okay.
And there's the whole conversation of whether or not you should even say that. And that's kind of different. Like any business should never start a conversation like, yeah, I've been doing this 25 years, you know, like until you've gotten them to identify with you, that's where that comes in. Right. So
That's
showcase.
Yeah, that's a trust factor.
Yes. Having those reviews, having people singing your glorious praises, showcasing those reviews. One thing that could be specific to DJs that is also important is showcasing venues that you're recommended at on your website, right? Showing the venues that recommend you and that you work at often, because a couple might see that and be like, oh, that's my venue, even if they didn't have that conversation with the venue.
Preferred vendor list. Yep. Gotcha.
So
What I do, I have, for the most part, I have a picture. If it's at venues, I have all their logos, and I have a carousel where they just roll through.
That's exactly what I mean. Yes. Yeah. So showcasing the venues that recommend you is also another way of building trust, because even if they are not getting married there, if that maybe was a place that they looked at or they've been to a wedding at, that can build that trust, right? Because it's about making you seem credible. And then also, obviously, you need to have like a good logo, a good brand presence, all that other stuff. But building trust after you've gotten them to identify with you, right? So we've gotten them to find us. We've gotten them to identify with us. We've gotten them to trust us.
Okay.
The next one is, how will they buy from us?
How will they buy from us?
We need to make it easy for them to reach out. And not just reach out. The thing that makes DJs very unique is our sales process is ridiculously long. Because if a DJ looks at just booking that gig and getting a contract and getting the deposit as the end of the sales cycle, they are shooting themselves in the foot the entire time. From the minute they are looking from a DJ until after you rock out at their wedding, and even a few days after that, that entire step is the sales process, right? When you buy something on Amazon or you buy something at a store, you go there, you get the product, you go to checkout, you pay for it, you take it home, and then maybe a few days, like you're mentally conscious of whether or not it has defects, so you're kind of prepared to like return it or whatever. Think of that, but with DJ, right? So the entire process from the minute that they find out that you are even a thing until you rocking out at their wedding is the sales process. So optimizing that, especially for millennials and Gen Z, because they have shorter attention span.
So you're saying from the initial email, phone call, whatever, all the way to after the review is done, or even after that, if you want to send a thank you a year later, you're still selling, because you're not just booking for that person. You're looking for friends, anybody else, because they continue to sell for you. So you still, I got you. That's deep.
Bingo. Bingo. And that's exactly right.
It's boring or bad, but this is some deep stuff right here.
If they want business and they want to grow their business.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, you don't want to. You don't want anybody to tell you how to do, or you know.
Well,
yeah. You know,
no.
Yeah, but I'm saying, you know, I don't need nobody to tell me how to sell. I mean, once I get them on the line and they pay their money, they sold. That's how a lot of people look at it. I don't need to. All I need to do is worry about them 2 weeks before. But no, sometimes you need to. Again, he's on here, so I'm gonna say this: the wonderful, beautiful process of Keith. Hey, we're 2 weeks out. Hey, here's a nice checklist for you to, you know, all this stuff that he sends to the brides through those. You know, if you got a bride, you got on the hook.
You know how to do your toast? Do you have any toast ideas?
Yes, all
exactly.
And all that stuff. Oh, wow, he thought about this. Oh, even on one where it says, hey, do you have Q-tips? Remember to bring some soft shoes. You know, just a little bitty thing.
You know what that type of stuff does?
What? It
creates conversation. And one of the things that people will always do they will talk, and they will confide in someone.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
And
Always.
and you can get people from things like that, because to me, what's good, I know we talked about word of mouth, but there is a such thing as brand ambassadors.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
And turning every client or guest into a brand ambassador is the best thing you could do for your business, right?
Yeah.
And
exactly.
if you look at the entire sales process as opposed to just getting the contract and getting the deposit all the way up until you rock out their wedding day, the likelihood of that happening becomes a lot greater, especially with a tool like Superior CRMs, right?
Yeah.
And integrate that with the way that you actually plan with the couple and the way that you do things, because a lot of times some of those things are not really expected. And like for Millennial and Gen Z, for example, so the amount of clients that, so with, I could see this really happening with the Gen Z generation. DJs that require to get a client on the phone in order to give them their pricing are going to be left behind. It's going to happen. If you need to get a client on the phone in order to sell them, Gen Z will not have time for you.
So let me ask you a question. So you're one of those, do you have your price on your website, or do you email them right after they ask, or what is, just to jump off subject one quick second?
So as soon as I get an inquiry, one thing I will never do, I will never schedule a meeting without them knowing my prices.
Okay.
So I will say that. So my prices are not easily accessible. So like, especially when I'm working on a DJ with the website, we always kind of dig in deep on that, because there's never a one straight answer for anybody, right?
Yeah.
It's different in every market and wherever you fall in the price fixture. So when a client reaches out, I'll have a conversation with them through email. I'll say, hey, I appreciate you reaching out. If it's a venue I'm familiar with, I'll say I'm super familiar with the venue. And then I'll ask them a few questions about either the ceremony or the cocktail. And then I'll say, if you want to schedule a call, you can click this link. And then I leave it there. Most of the time, they never click that link. They never schedule a call. And then they reply. And then we kind of go back and forth. If they don't reply, I send them a follow-up. And then they're like, oh, sorry, I forgot. Sometimes they ghost me, but that's going to happen anyways.
Yeah, that's going to happen.
But it's about being able to establish and build that trust. And a lot of that can be done through the website, through social media, and other things like that, right?
So real quick, I know you talking about that. So you've had a chance to interview Rachel, right? And Rachel has no website.
Yes.
And no advertising.
But she has a mad social media presence.
I know. I'm understanding. I understand that. So what do you say to Rachel, who doesn't have a website, with that, if that's your conversion? And
so
you say it's high traffic conversion. Do you think
with
her vlogs or other stuff that does it?
With somebody like Rachel, because mind you, she's also an EMS during the week.
Yeah.
So if she is happy where she is, that's completely fine, because she isn't really trying to grow beyond where she is right now.
Yeah.
She's good. Like, she's made it, man. Like,
yeah, I get that, but I'm just saying, all I hear is wedding site conversion, website conversion.
But the one thing, if I may, is she's did that in another way.
Yeah. I mean, I understand, because she has a great following, and she does hers through her gig logs and other stuff, and
she also networks a lot, like within her local market. So like one of the DJ marketing school interviews that we were talking about, well, in the interview, she specifically mentioned a lot of networking events that she goes to specifically to promote her business, and even though she doesn't necessarily have a website, she has a link tree where she has a digital business card where people can see all of her gig logs. And
I just wanted to get on here, talk to you about that and bring that up. But let's go ahead to number 5, because we try to be respectful of everybody's time. And
so going back, how will they find us? How will they identify with us? How will they trust us? And how will they buy from us? We have to make it easy, and we have to make it likable, right? Yeah. And then the last step is, how will they talk about us? So what are they going to say that we are about after we are done? Will they say like, He was all right, or
They
he
were
was.
easy to work with. They answered my questions. They followed through. Their system was easy. You know, you want them to say stuff like that, or you don't want them to say, "Well, he was hard to get in contact." I get you. Okay, I like that.
Yes,
Those are
and then
great
that
points.
also falls into getting that review, right? Because if you kind of take those steps all the way through and you build out a solid planning process with the clients or a solid sales process where you are working with the clients leading up to their day, whatever that might look like, then that gives you the opportunity, especially once you begin getting that work and getting in front of venues, creating that content. It's a formula that diversifies the leads that are coming in, because some of them will come in through social media, some come in through the website, some come in through referrals, and then you'll always end up having more than you freaking need.
And you call that the 5 pillars of marketing, right?
Yes. And I will trademark Lead Plan Marketing because they were the ones that taught me that. John Schmitty is the owner of Lead Plan, and he was somebody that I really looked up to. And he
What
even
is
wrote
it?
a book.
Lead. I'm gonna give them credit. What is it?
Lead Plan Marketing.
By Lead Plan Marketing.
Yep.
Yeah, that's some good information, Tony.
Man, that's deep, brother. That's woo.
And it really touches on everything that's really relevant in regards to marketing your brand, your business, whatever you want to call it. You have to follow those steps.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
When you start missing steps and skipping steps, you're really setting yourself up, for a bad night or a bad evening or a bad business.
So
you have to do that.
Yeah. So let me ask you this too. So if y'all had a client and they didn't do that, what did y'all do? Try to fix a step in there, or would you tell them you couldn't work with them, or how would y'all do that?
If somebody found you and they miss one of those steps, they're not one of your clients.
Wow.
They left. You probably never even heard about them because they didn't reach out, because either you didn't identify with them.
No, I'm talking about, say, when you were at that company where y'all and you would.
You said when you're working with a client that.
Did y'all create so how did y'all do it? Y'all would make sure they had all of those steps, or
Yes,
tell them how to put
100%. So,
Okay.
and even like with the web design stuff that I do, I will do the same thing. So we follow the same process. So same with the website, right? So obviously you need someone to find the website, but the first thing they see should be something that allows them to identify with you. It shouldn't be, we've been in business 25 years, right? And then
done over 500 weddings.
Right. You need to get them to identify with what it is that you do and get them excited for it. And then you build that trust by showcasing testimonials or referrals or venues that you have worked at. And then you need to ask for the sale and ask for the conversion. So like with websites, it's the exact same, but we would always make sure that we had all of those pieces in place, whether we were doing a brand launch or an ad campaign or a website, because without one of those answered, the whole chain could be broken.
That's beautiful.
It's just over, right? And especially with the DJ business, it's a perfect kind of medium, because once you have your sales process figured out and you get that consistency in working with your clients, so every single event is the exact same, between like posting on Google Business Profile, getting the consistent reviews, literally blasting social media online, tagging vendors or tagging venues and having people see that, it just creates a cycle of momentum that just
keeps rolling. If you keep
it just keeps rolling, and then you don't have to actually pay for advertising. It's not word of mouth, right? Like, it's not like, hey, I heard about this guy. In a way, it kind of is, because the people that are either tagging you or somebody that is seeing you from you tagging a venue, that's kind of like social word of mouth, but it's still marketing and they are still finding you.
Yep.
Wow.
So in layman's term, what he said, or part of what you said, in order for you to get to the point that you are at where you don't spend dollars, first you had to build the building first. And once you built the building and you've created this personality, this persona, where people just see your bat signal. You don't have to put money toward it because they see the bat signal and they just run to it. But first, you have to create it first.
Yeah. Hey, if we got any questions, type them in the chat real quick for Tony.
Yes.
Man, because, man, I'm definitely, I need, and while we're waiting on them to put in some questions, if they have any, go ahead and give us all how we can get in contact with you, all the stuff, links and everything, your social medias, your email, however you get people to get in contact with you, Tony.
So if you want to reach out to me, you can add me on Facebook, Tony H. Lackey, kind of like you said. You can also look up northernbeatmi.com. That's my business, or refinedweb.net. Refined Web is the name that I go under as I freelance websites. So when I work on a website, it's under Refined Web. So if you're even interested in some of the websites that I have done and kind of what they look like, and if you can kind of spot like the 5 pillars in the design, go there, because all of the websites that I have done are listed on Refined Web.
So we did some research on here, but after this, I'm gonna do a little bit more in-depth research and check out Tony H. Lackey. I'm gonna go a little deeper because, man, I mean that's deep because that's what you want to create. You want to create a website or whatever you create to where it just draws them in, and when they look and contact you, they're already sold. No questions, but what?
But
Tony,
hey, I appreciate it.
Keith, stop, man, stop.
Yeah.
Stop blowing the smoke, Keith. What you want from him? Stop
Oh,
it.
is that?
Put the hookah down.
Put the hookah down. Put it down, Keith. Step away from the yak. Whatever you're up there do.
But it is the truth, though, right? Because
Get off the buffalo.
because once you build it the right way,
Yeah.
There's no one piece that is greater than another. There's no one piece that is like the be all end all, but it's all of these components working together that really build up that momentum and keep driving everything forward.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I like that. Hey, this was awesome. And
Are we gonna do
man.
some hot topics?
yes.
Yep.
Yes. This was awesome.
We have a segment called Hot Topics. Would you like to stick around for our Hot Topics?
Let's do it.
All right. Let's see what Mike has in the Hot Topics for us today.
Yeah, I wrote down some quotes.
Yeah, he wrote down some quotes today.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a lot going on today
Yeah,
in the social media world.
It was
Yeah.
a very busy day today.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And
We had some hot takes.
anything going on in your groups you want to throw out or ask us about? Anything?
Not that I can think of, other than if anybody is a Michigan DJ or a Michigan wedding vendor.
Do we tell him to plug his stuff or do we ask him to talk about it?
I'm just saying. I mean, I'm looking for vendors, man.
Marketing. What do you expect?
Do we ask him to plug his stuff or do we ask him to talk
Speak
about
on it.
No, I'm just messing with you, Tony. What is this, man? I do find that more DJs need to focus on their admin and Lord have mercy. On their admin and business more than just always buying the latest.
The
Lord
latest
have
and the
mercy.
greatest gear.
That is true. I feel like that's Keith, but that is 100% true.
That is key.
Yeah, I figured so. But
Keith, do you have any things you want to throw out there for instead of that is not a hot topic, Keith.
he
We
just
all
got
know.
out of Toastmasters. He probably
We
literally.
all know that's not a hot topic. That's just your bad opinion. We all need new equipment. Don't get mad with us because we want to buy glow tubes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Well,
but I will say that the amount of DJs that invest in their gear over investing in their business is a bit disproportionate, because you do see a lot more DJs investing more in the gear as opposed to their actual business side.
so
And you
let me
can't
ask
neglect either one,
you-
right? Like you
let me
need
ask
the
you a
gear.
question, Tony, how do you feel about continuing education?
I love it.
Do you?
So I never went to college. I never really had the money for college, but any opportunity that I get to learn, I take it. So like going to MEX, Mobile Entertainment Expo, Photo Booth Expo in Las Vegas this year, I went there. I went to Midwest DJs Live back in 2022, not this year, but the year prior. So
Why?
Why?
to get better, man. right? And it's all about that buying process. So especially when I
can help you.
Yes. Like, especially when I go to those conventions. So when we went to Mobile Entertainment Expo, we also did the Mark Farrell workshop, the Marbecca workshops.
Ah,
So,
so stop. Was it worth it?
100%. 100
Okay, so I'm
freaking
thinking
percent.
about doing it next year at Midwest.
Give me a
DJ.
takeaway.
Give us a great takeaway from it.
The biggest takeaway for me was DIG. And that's kind of the acronym that he gives in the group. And he says, anytime you get on the microphone, you need a dig. You're either directing them to do something, you're informing them of something, or you are guiding them to something.
Dig. Go ahead, brother.
If it's not one of those, you do not turn on the microphone. You do not pick it up, and you shut your mouth.
Directing, informing, guiding.
Yes.
So, which one did you take? Which class did you take? The bronze or
the bronze? Because it was kind of the first step, and then I'm going to be taking the silver coming up. I think it's bronze, silver, gold. Yeah. So I'll be taking the silver coming up, but 100%, especially for helping us with that buying process. Because mind you, our buying process is very long for DJs. So anything that we can do to step that up and improve also helps our business. So it has helped me a ton with that.
Okay. So we all out of bounds tonight. We're not even worried about the clock. But go ahead, Mike. What you got on these quotes, man?
Oh,
he
just kind of fed right into it. I had a quote. How can you be a professional if you don't practice?
You can't be.
So, and I'm going to ask the question.
Mm-hmm.
Would you buy my hamburgers if I never practiced on cooking?
I'm not going to let you practice on my stomach. No. No. I mean, yeah.
But
it's no way around it.
And that goes back actually to the 5 pillars and what people often think marketing is, right? So without the practice and without actually nailing down like what that buying process looks like, you can have people find you all day. It's not going to freaking matter, right? Woo! Like if you aren't good at what you do and your buying process is not as iron tight and clad and you are not rocking and killing every single event, it's not going to matter, bottom line, right? So you can't be a professional if you do not practice.
Yeah. Well, in every aspect, marketing, DJing, everything, sales. People don't, I mean, it's a lot to it because as an owner and a DJ, you co-owner, that is, whatever it may be, we have to sell, we have to create, we have to advertise, we have to market, we have to brand, we have to HR, we have to, it's so many different things we have to do in this business as DJs. Man, again, I'm glad you gave out all your stuff. We want to thank you for coming on. Keith, thank you for the referral. I look forward to meeting you along the way somewhere, man. And you can tell him thank you too, because I called Tony. He didn't remember it till later on, but I called him and he testified for you. And you are the reason that you got my sale because of you, Tony, and what's his name in Atlanta. Both of those guys did nothing but gave him high praise. I think you just picked up the phone or called me and hit me and said, Jeff, you have to get this. I can't remember exactly what we did, but we hooked up and we talked about it. Or you jumped on a call with me, him, and Keith or something like that. But I remember I said, okay, this cat. And then Ty was already selling it to me last year at in Chicago. He was sitting there at the. We were in a class. He's sitting there showing me showing me perfect portals or whatever. He was showing me everything, man. So I was like,
amen. Okay.
But it has really helped. You told me it would change my business. It has changed in a lot of ways because I don't have to chase clients. It chases them for me. You'll get a ghosted email. Hey, I forgot all about you. I'm ready to book. And all I did was hit send proposal, and it follows you for the next 2 years of your life.
I say this all the time. The only reason I'm able to work with the businesses that I do for the web design stuff and put together my Wedding Connect is literally because of the system that Keith put in place for me.
Absolutely.
Because I don't have to send out all these emails. I have timelines that go out to wedding planners and photographers before the wedding. I have meeting reminders, and before they even book, like you said, if they end up ghosting me and I already sent the contract, oh yeah, sorry about that, and I didn't have to do anything, right? So
it turns them into a ghosted lead, and then it's going to follow up, and all I have to do is wait for it to come back. And if I want to go through my leads and look at it, I can look at them and email them and send them something. But it's just, did you have any other thing else you wanted to ask, Mike? Or you getting to that show close?
No, I'm just waiting on y'all.
You doing me like I did you and Bill?
No, I'm just saying it's a lot of good information.
Yeah, it was really good. I mean, you got deep on us, man. The 5 pillars, I will definitely look at everything like that from now on when it comes to marketing. And we were on Waiting Wire and the Knot. All we use it for now is reviews, and we left our ad up, but you just always looking. I mean, you want to play in the same ballpark, but do you want to play that? That money, is it really worth it? But like you said, if you create it organically or just find a way to create them 5 pillars, it will make it, much easier for you. Yeah, I like that.
And a lot of times too, it's just about habits, right? Like with me, I don't spend any money on marketing, but I spend at least an hour a week putting things in place, whether that be creating a Google ad, creating social media content, or whatever it looks like, right?
So on your Google ads, you still don't spend no money. You just put something on Google.
Google Posts. No, I do not spend money on Google.
That out, brother, because Google gonna get their money if you go with. They are high.
But I create a post every single week. So every week I'm creating a post. I'm adding a photo, adding a button for my business, and I'm getting reviews at least 3 a month, especially during wedding season. Maybe less during the off season because I'm in Antarctica, but during the wedding season, I'm getting at least minimum 3 a month. Usually like 5 or 6 is usually what we get.
And I was going to tell you, my wife is from Muskegon.
Oh, really? Cool.
Yeah.
So she knows all about it up here.
Oh, I do too. I've been up there to Antarctica where you fly in and you can't even bury your family because it's so goddamn cold.
It freaking sucks.
Oh man, we went. Her grandmother passed. We flew up for the funeral. I think it was in February, and November, something like that. And they couldn't bury her till March, so they let the family know we get ready to bury her in March. Man, we walked out on Lake Michigan because her cousin lives right out there on the lake. And Mike, as far as you can see, it's nothing but ice, man. It's so goddamn cold. The snow is piled up as high as I don't know. I was like, this is the most depressing place. I can't live,
especially in the winter.
Why are you still up there?
It's where I'm at, man. Maybe someday I'll move, but I haven't gotten the urge yet. So
okay,
I'm working on growing businesses up here.
Well, you come down here, it's about 200 degrees, so you might be in the right place right now.
CeeLo on repeat.
CeeLo on repeat.
Crazy.
Hey, well, here's the thing though. So I actually grew up in Okinawa, Japan, because my dad was in the Marine Corps. So I'm used to like tropic weather where
you ain't in the tropics where you at, brother.
And I still haven't gotten used to the cold, but I'm still here. So
yeah. Wow. God dog. Man, it was truly a pleasure. Again, thank you, Keith. Thank you, everybody that listened. I'm definitely gonna go and sign up and get on your thing and check it out because that's nice, man.
Yeah, join the Facebook group, man.
Add you to DJ Crosstalk too. So if anybody has any marketing questions, you can answer those for them.
Yes, please
do.
And
we're going to speak with you later about some potential business opportunities that we got coming down the line, and we'd love to make you a part of our upcoming business venture, Tony.
Yeah.
Let me know. I'm always open, man.
Oh, you're open. Yeah. You're open, buddy.
Mike says so.
2 DJs and 1 mic, baby. So
I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, man. And hey, Keith said you're gonna have us on our show. You might not want to talk to us. We'll come on your show if you want us to.
Oh, yes, I would love to. My show is not live, so we usually will just record it.
More for us to cut up and act a monkey. We won't be live. But I mean, whenever you want to record, just let us know, man. We'll jump on and return the favor and talk about what we love. putting it in the mix, teaching people how to do what we do.
Whatever you
I love
want to ask.
Whatever you want to talk.
book.
We open book. We unscripted, baby. This is true live and just go hard. What's somebody that said now? DJ. What? No, we don't.
That's
have
definitely Keith.
Yeah, that's definitely Keith. He's about to get
Keith,
banned.
Yeah, you about to get banned. Keith. That's what you're about to get.
Well, we definitely don't roll like that. No, sir.
You in the superior.
That's our last advertisement for you after that one, buddy. Oh man, no,
You're on your own, Keith.
he does great work, but wait a minute, hold on.
Oh,
Man. All right, hey brother. Good night. Thank you for coming on the show, man. We're gonna get on and thank you. It was a pleasure, brother. It was deep. I mean, it was deep and good.
yeah,
I appreciate you guys. Thanks for letting me jump on, and it was cool talking with you guys, man.
All right. Until next time, we'll see you guys.
All right. Y'all take
Peace.
care. Have a great week.
Have a good night.